The purpose of my innovation was to create a model CPAP mask that is more comfortable than traditional masks and that can completely bypass the need for cords and the huge machine attached to them. Then I would test to see if my model mask is more comfortable than the commercially available CPAP mask. Because this is what I wanted to do, in my background research, I had to research a lot about sleep apnea, CPAP masks and machines, and just sleep in general. Every night when I was young, I would go say goodnight to my dad and he would say goodnight, sleep tight. That's why I decided to name my project. So my dad actually has sleep apnea and was advised by a doctor to use the CPAP machine, but without even trying one, he said he wouldn't. I was intrigued and confused on why he said no, and after doing a bit of research, I learned about the faults in the CPAP masks. And I learned that my dad wasn't the only person that was advised to use the CPAP machine, but does not want to. Because of this, I became motivated to do something about the design of the CPAP mask, and hence chose to do this project. So like I mentioned before, the purpose of my innovation was to create a model CPAP mask that is more comfortable than traditional masks and could completely bypass the need for cords and the huge machines attached to them. Then I would test to see if my model mask was better and more comfortable than the commercially available CPAP mask. So first, what I did was I created an account on this website called Tinkercad. This website allows you to create things that could be 3D printed. I created my 3D model of my mask and I printed it. After printing, I took my participant and asked them to wear the commercially available CPAP mask for an hour. It was not on while they were doing this testing. Then I asked them to do simple tasks like read, talk, and watch TV. Then I wrote down my participants' experience while wearing the mask. I asked them questions like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard was it to do each task, and how comfortable was it when you were doing it? I then recorded the responses in my notebook and then did the same thing, but with a 3D printed model of a CPAP mask. So I just asked them the same questions and wrote down the results. So this graph shows the results from my experiment. On the x-axis, it has the number out of 10 rated on easiness and comfortability while doing each task. On the y-axis, it shows each task. My conclusion was that my participants' overall review of the comfortability from the commercially available CPAP mask was 17 out of 30, and for my 3D printed model of a mask was 15 out of 30. My results could be used to show that the commercially available CPAP masks that we have today are not comfortable at all, and we should work towards creating new designs. Even if the designs don't necessarily make sense, still creating it could spark other ideas. For example, my 3D printed model mask could be used off of, or could be built off of, in the sense that if someone thinks one idea is good and wants to remove something from my model, they can add or take away things to really make the design perfect. So for winter break, my family and I traveled to Dubai. In Dubai, we contacted COVID, and what ended up being a 3-week trip was only supposed to be 1 week. So that means I was very behind once I got back to Canada and all of my science fair testing. Because of this, I was only able to create one model CPAP mask when I was planning on making 3 and only having 1 participant, which means that my results aren't as accurate as they could have been because I only had 1 participant testing it. Further research that can be done on this topic is actually seeing if my 3D printed model mask could work if motors and filters were put in it. If it doesn't work, then creating a new model CPAP mask and trying it to see if it's better. And then continuing this cycle. If you see that one mask doesn't work, make a new one and try to make that one work. And just keep testing until you get to the perfect, comfortable, easy to use CPAP mask. First, I asked a question: why is it that most patients with sleep apnea choose not to use a CPAP machine? Then I gathered answers, I researched the main reasons, and formed a hypothesis. One of the reasons why people don't use CPAP machines is because of how uncomfortable the masks are. So I decided that I'm going to try and fix that problem by designing a and 3D printing a improved mask. Then I tested my hypothesis. I got my participant to test out my mask and see if that's more comfortable or less comfortable. And then I shared my results, which is what I'm doing right now.